Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about a piece of legislation out of Missouri. It is HB 700, introduced by Representative Hardwick. Before we get into this, everybody, if you can see me, take a look at my hat. This isn't a joke. This isn't a piece of satire. This is real. It's just something to point out ahead of time. Apparently, there are at least a few legislators in Missouri who are going to try to take on Cognito Inc. and Reagan, I guess. The piece of legislation itself is more focused on curtailing the government's ability to respond to a public health issue in the future. I'm certain that's not how the people proposing it would describe it, but that seems to be its main goal. And there are a whole lot of things in the bill that have legitimate public health concerns that hopefully will lead to it being defeated. However, there is one particular piece of this potential legislation that I think that we should draw attention to. There is a prohibition on the introduction of mechanical or electronic devices under your skin via a vaccine. Microchips. In the United States today, in a state legislature, there is a bill moving forward that is designed to prohibit microchips. Now, this is funny on some level. It's humorous. For those that don't know, that's not a thing. But it's also actively harmful in a way that people may not see at first glance. Undoubtedly, in the future, those of a conspiratorial mindset will absolutely point to this piece of legislation and say, look, they, whoever the they is to them, obviously have microchips because there in Missouri, they tried to ban it. Why would they try to ban something that didn't exist? And it will become self-reinforcing. So while the obvious first reaction is to laugh, there are downstream implications from this that are not good, that will continue to cause a problem. This is one of the real issues when politicians play into an echo chamber and they try to cater to a small demographic that is highly energized. They create a situation where their show legislation can actually cause real problems later. Now, keep in mind, this is probably not going to be the part of this particular legislation that gets the most pushback. I think most people are going to look at it and just kind of giggle, especially when you consider there are other portions of this that include, prohibiting public school districts from requiring certain kinds of vaccines and stuff like that. Stuff that has a much more immediate implication when it comes to public health. But a piece of legislation that includes this is going to cause more vaccine hesitancy. It's going to cause more problems down the road. Now, there is some good news here. Hardwick introduced a similar piece of legislation last year, and it didn't go anywhere. And he has admitted that pretty much every lobbying group in the state is opposed to this legislation. Good for them. At the same time, because lobbying groups are opposed to it from those of a conspiratorial mindset, it will feed into the idea that big business is out to get them. while your first reaction may be to laugh at this, it shows the desperate need for a lot of scientific literacy in the United States, a lot of education, and a better understanding of, well, a lot of things. But we definitely need more critical thinking when we're talking about media consumption, all of this. This piece of legislation shouldn't exist. But here we are. And not just does it exist, it's the second time something like this has been proposed. So apparently the failure of it passing the first time was not enough to dissuade some Missouri legislators from supporting it. Because it is currently moving forward, though it is expected to ultimately be defeated. So, in the future, when you hear about people talking about how these things, these chips, they obviously have to exist because some state legislatures are trying to ban them, this is where it came from. This is where it came from. That vaccine hesitancy, the loss that will be caused by it, it came from show legislation. What I'm assuming is show legislation. I mean, for all I know, Hardwick actually does believe this. We need better schools. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.